Man, it's changed a ton. But I would say the biggest change is probably since 2020. I mean, since COVID and the transfer portal, the NIL, piece of it. But it certainly has changed, and now we're looking at changing again. We're going to change our calendar up, and so you just kind of ebb and flow with the new rules and the new things that are going on. And so I think for us, we still want to continue to hit the high schools at a as hard as we can. Certainly right here in Cincinnati, and then also within our state. And there's some great high school football players here. So we're going to continue to do that. We have been doing that for years, and but now you got to recruit your team. You got to recruit the portal. You got to recruit the high school. So it certainly changed that. It's just put a lot more on our plate. I think the biggest difference probably is technology. Because back in the day, you used to you had your area, your region, and whoever actually did the work, that's how you found out about the players. Now it's all on the internet. So the technology is a huge piece. But it was fun to be able to do that, build relationships with those guys, bring them on your campus, and then you would get a lot of those guys. But now it's like, relationships matter, but maybe not as much to some of them. And like you said, you've not had any kids. Like, everybody knows about them. If they're good, they're going to get out there, and so it still comes down to relationships and recruiting them at a high level, and that's what we're doing.
I don't know how good I am, but I can travel. I can tell you that. I've been all over the country this month, so it's been fun. June will tell the tale. We've got 3 straight big weekends with a bunch of really, really good players coming in, so we got to do a good job. City's got to shine, and it will. And hopefully a lot of those kids will make commitments in those 3 weeks. Yeah, I would say it was a lot different in 2006. It was much more area-based. You had geographic spots where you had to go to, and you went school to school, and you're trying to find players. And now you're much broader, much more national-based, trying to find kids that lots of people have identified. We got a much bigger staff working on that now. There's film everywhere. It didn't used to exist all over. And so now you find a lot of kids, and you just got to go. You got to go see them. You got to shake their hand. You got to try to get them on campus sometime this summer. And you're a year ahead. Before, right now, you'd only be recruiting juniors, but now you're recruiting freshmen, sophomores, and juniors.
Do you miss just walking into a school and just undiscovered, you find this diamond
and
in the rough?
You still look for those guys, and you do find them. And I think you find more of those kids locally than you do anywhere else, kids that are still developing. And because you know so much about the school, the coach, the area, you have a tendency to maybe find some of those later kids locally than you do across the country. So some of those kids from Cincinnati will pop up here in the fall. Well, I can tell you that I've recruited with a lot of different head coaches, and I've had head coaches we've pulled up to a place where a player was living, and they said, hey, I'm not going in there. And we ended up having the meal at a restaurant because he was not going in the house because it was a tough neighborhood and a tough environment. I was actually recruited a kid when I was here in Cincinnati. I was out on the West Coast in California, and the player told me, I got to meet you here at this corner. I got to ride in with you. I said, what do you got to ride in with me for? I'll find it. And he said, oh no, coach. He said, I got to ride in with you or you're not coming. So there's been some areas where, recruiting, it can be a little bit dicey or a little tougher than others, but it's what you do. Man, there's so many kids that along the way have surprised you with their commitment, and you don't know it's coming. And that's one of the most exciting things in the world is when you're just recruiting really hard. You're recruiting against everybody in the country, and then all of a sudden they pop up and decide they're going to play for you, and it's one of the best feelings in the world. And that happens more often than you'd think. It really does. So many things I had to learn, Scott, from the very beginning to now, and I'm still learning. But it's one of the. I love recruiting. I love getting out and meeting people. I love high school football. I always have, and so getting to go see how these high schools do things and how the game has changed at the high school level and how the coaches are involved with everything. It's very rewarding. If they'd have told me before I went down there and worked with Brian, I would have said, well, I'm never leaving Colerain. I told Brian that when he called me. I wasn't leaving Colerain. I had a great job. I would think I'd still be there. I thought I was just going to ride off into the sunset from there. So I had no idea. I never know what God's got in store for me, but what I do know is it's pretty daggone close to home. And that's what he's got in store for me, and that's why I'm so glad to be back.